Stormy Daniels on Trump's indictment. There will be injuries and death. Porn star Stormy Daniels called the indictment of former President Donald Trump monumental and epic, but said she fears it will cause violence and death in an interview Friday. Daniels, 44, whose hush money payment is at the center of Trump's recent Manhattan indictment, said she's proud to play a role in the potential downfall of a powerful man who she believes has long escaped consequences. It's vindication, Daniels told the Times of London, but it's bittersweet. He's done so much worse that he should have been taken down for before. I am fully aware of the insanity of it being a porn star, but it's also poetic. This piece I grabbed back, she said, referencing vulgar comments Trump made to TV personality Billy Bush in a video clip that surfaced in 2016. Just before he allegedly made hush money payments to Daniels. But Daniels warned that whether or not Trump is found guilty, violence and chaos are likely to break out. It's monumental and epic, and I'm proud. The other side of it is that it's going to continue to divide people and bring them up in arms. He's already gotten away with inciting a riot and causing death and destruction, Daniels said of the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. Whatever the outcome is, it's going to cause violence. And there's going to be injuries and death, she added. There's the potential for a lot of good to come from this. But either way, a lot of bad is going to come from it too. Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, has said she first crossed paths with Trump during a charity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe when she was 27 and Trump was 60 years old. She said she's ready to face Trump in court, while admitting that she's scared of backlash from his supporters. I'm frightened for the first time ever, yeah. And part of me is hesitant to say that because you don't want blood in the water. It kind of encourages the sharks, she said. Within hours of the indictment on Thursday, Daniels started receiving chilling threats of all social media platforms, and email, and phone, she said. This time it's straight up violent, said Daniels, who gave the interview from an undisclosed location in the U.S. The first time it was gold digger, slut, whore, liar, whatever. And this time it's I'm gonna murder you. They're way more violent and graphic. The country is more divided and people are more desperate. I'm not afraid of Trump or of the government, but it just takes one crazy supporter who thinks they're doing God's work or protecting democracy, she said. On Thursday, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office filed an indictment against Trump, 76, related to hush money payments made to Daniels, marking the first ever criminal case against a current or former U.S. president. The payment was made ahead of the 2016 election by then-Trump attorney and fixer Michael Cohen, the adult film actress, to silence her about an affair she claimed to have had with Trump in 2006. On Friday, Daniels said she's not intimidated by the prospect of facing Trump in court. I've seen him naked, she quipped. There's no way he could be scarier with his clothes on. After meeting Daniels at the golf event, Trump allegedly invited her to dinner in his hotel suite, where they had what in 2018 she described as the least impressive sex I'd ever had. Trump, who had married his wife Melania a year before his alleged tryst with Daniels, has denied they ever had sex, calling her claims are a total con job and accusing her of extortion. There's going to be death and destruction. Stormy Daniels warns Donald Trump will incite violence after his indictment, but says she is not scared of the former president, because I've seen him naked. Stormy Daniels has said Donald Trump is no longer untouchable after he was indicted by a Manhattan grand jury, joking that she is not scared of him because she's seen him naked. The porn star has broken her silence and warned there will be death and destruction following the decision, which could see the former president facing time behind bars. Speaking to the Times, Daniels' real name, Stephanie Gregory Clifford, said, "A person in power is not exempt from the law, and no matter what your job or bank account says, you're held accountable for what you've said and done, and justice is served. It's vindication, but it's bittersweet. He's done so much worse that he should have been taken down for before. I am fully aware of the insanity of it being a porn star, but it's also poetic." This PY grabbed back. On Tuesday, the 76-year-old was told he has to turn himself in or face arrest and extradition to New York. It is unclear exactly what charges the former president will be facing, but it is understood to be in relation to the money paid to Daniels and another woman. Describing how the moment felt, Daniels said, "It's monumental and epic, and I'm proud. The other side of it is that it's going to continue to divide people and bring them up in arms. He's already gotten away with inciting a riot and causing death and destruction. Whatever the outcome is, it's going to cause violence And there's going to be injuries and death. There's the potential for a lot of good to come from this. But either way, a lot of bad is going to come from it too. While she has not been officially called to testify against Trump, she says that she hopes she will. Daniels added, "I've seen him naked. There's no way he could be scarier with his clothes on. And after what Avenatti put me through last January, I'm not as scared. There's something really ironic and hilarious that I got the news about the indictment while I was sitting on a horse named Redemption." She also claims that she has received more abuse on social media than the first time round, branding it as straight-up violent. In her interview, she said, "The first time it was gold digger, STWE, liar whatever, and this time it's I'm gonna murder you. They're way more violent and graphic." When asked if she was frightened, she replied, "For the first time ever, yeah. And part of me is hesitant to say that because you don't want blood in the water. It kind of encourages the sharks." But she says, "It's especially scary because Trump himself is inciting violence and encouraging it." It comes after Stormy pulled out of an on-air interview with Piers Morgan on his talk TV show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Their interview was set to come a year after Morgan and Trump clashed over an appearance he made on the same show. The former president was furious about a trailer for the show being edited to make it appear as though he'd stormed off set in a tantrum. Morgan, in defending the show, said he had behaved in a bad-tempered way, and that Trump aide Taylor Buttigieg was to blame. The pair previously enjoyed somewhat of a jovial relationship until then. While she is yet to give a formal interview about the charges, Stormy has been cashing in on the controversy with merchandise. The exact charges against Trump will not be known until the indictment is unsealed, which is expected to happen next week. They are believed to be in relation to the 2016 payment of $130,000 from his former attorney Michael Cohen to Daniels, a porn star who claims to have slept with Trump in 2005. Trump maintains his innocence, insisting he had nothing to do with it. The gloves are off. Trump goes after soft-on-crime Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg and his wife after grand jury indictment, as protesters turn out at Trump Tower, while his fans swarm Mar-a-Lago. Former President Donald Trump has launched a social media assault on Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, the Democratic prosecutor going after him for alleged fraud, and even took aim at his wife in the most recent round of complaints since he was indicted last night. Trump, 76, will be arraigned in Manhattan at 2:15 p.m. on Tuesday on an array of business fraud charges relating to 2016 hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. He has denied any personal wrongdoing and says he is the victim of a politically motivated witch hunt led by the famously Democratic Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The charges are not yet known. Only once he is formally charged in person will the indictment become unsealed. While he waits for that to happen, Trump is not holding back in his criticism of Bragg. Today, he reposted several news videos and campaign trailers by Bragg's opponents, which described him as one of the worst DAs in the country and shamed him for not prosecuting many violent crimes. Bragg is among a handful of Democratic prosecutors around the country who has received funding from mega donor George Soros. Not only does Trump think that Bragg is motivated by political hatred, he also brought his wife into the discourse today, posting tweets by a Real Clear Politics journalist who said she'd previously shared her own disdain for the president online. In March 2022, before Manhattan grand jury began hearing evidence, DA Alvin Bragg's wife Jamila retweeted a report that claimed that her husband has Trump nailed on felonies. Jamila Bragg has since locked her Twitter account. One of the tweets by reporter and columnist Paul Sperry said. In another, he said, anti-Trump DA Alvin Bragg's wife Jamila Ponton has locked her Twitter page, changing her account status from open to protected. For several years, Ashvin Tonbrig has railed against Trump and retweeted posts calling him racist and advocating for his arrest. Ponton Bragg has now made her Twitter account private. Perry did not provide any screenshots of the tweets he said she'd posted. She and Bragg have been married for 20 years and share 2 children. Yesterday, Judge Juan Merchan was spotted arriving at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse in casual clothes last night, flanked by 2 security officers, leading many to believe that he has been chosen for the case. Merchan previously presided over the Trump Organization fraud trial, where the family business was fined $1.2 million on a range of charges. On Friday morning, Trump took to Truth Social to complain that Merchan hates him and had been handpicked by Bragg and his cronies. His daughter Ivanka said the indictment has left her feeling pain for both him and her country. Meanwhile, anti-Trump protesters gathered in force outside Trump Tower in Manhattan to celebrate the indictment. They held up protest signs that read "Lock him up," a play on his supporters' old chants about Hillary Clinton. Trump, writing on Truth Social, fumed about the judge. "The judge assigned to my witch hunt case, a case that has never been charged before, hates me. His name is Juan Manuel Marchin, was handpicked by Bragg and the prosecutors, which didn't plead viciously, appealing." He also complained about how Marchin railroaded Alan Weisselberg, the former Trump org. CFO, into taking a plea deal. Trump claims he forced Weisselberg to admit guilt, and that he treated anyone who didn't viciously. The Trump Organization was found guilty of a series of tax crimes last year. As part of that case, Judge Merchan fined the organization $1.2 million, but neither Trump nor any of his children were personally charged or held liable. The indictment against him signals the first time a U.S. president has ever been criminally charged. Trump and his attorneys say it's a political witch hunt designed to hurt his chances in the 2024 election. Among his few remaining supporters in Washington is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has vowed to come to New York next week to protest the indictment and offer Trump her support. Both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris refused to comment on the indictment. Vice President Kamala Harris, on a high-profile trip to Africa that has been overshadowed by the Trump news, also refused to comment on the former president. "I am not going to comment on an ongoing criminal case as it relates to the former president," she told reporters at a press conference in Zambia. President Biden repeatedly refused to answer questions outside the White House this morning. Earlier on Friday, his attorney Joe Tacopina made a series of early morning TV appearances to fight his corner. He insisted Trump would not be put in handcuffs when he is arraigned on Tuesday, and that the Secret Service will prevent a circus outside the courthouse. "The president will not be put in handcuffs. As far as a mugshot perp walk, I am sure they will try to make sure they get some joy out of it by parading him. But this is a different situation," he said during an appearance on Good Morning America. "You have Secret Service involved, a lot of different groups involved. I don't think they're going to allow this to become a circus." He added that even though he is yet to see the indictment or know what the specific charges are, he does not believe they are warranted. Despite predicting his own arrest, Tacopina said he was still shocked that the grand jury decided to indict him. "Despite all the rumors, we believed and hoped that the rule of law would prevail. He was initially shocked. After he got over that, he put a notch on his belt, and he, decided we have to fight now." Now, he is in a typical Donald Trump posture. He is ready to be combative on something he feels is an injustice. Tacopina said Trump will plead not guilty, and that he will immediately begin aggressively fighting the case. "His knees don't buckle. He is ready to fight this," he said. Calling it an unprecedented case, he fumed. The rule of law died yesterday. In a separate interview on Good Morning America, Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney who was previously convicted of campaign finance violations and tax evasion, took a victory lap. He said Trump should be more concerned with the court of law than with the court of public opinion. President Biden declined to comment when approached by reporters outside the White House. Trump and his wife Melania were captured just hours after a grand jury recommended that he be indicted over a $130,000 hush money payment to former porn star Stormy Daniels. A photo of the couple was posted to Twitter on Thursday evening by Gina Loudon, a conservative media commentator, who tweeted, "Beautiful evening here at the gorgeous Mar-a-Lago. Our real first couple enveloped in the love of their friends and most loyal." She then added, "Sorry to disappoint corporate media. Actually not. Screw you. This is a happiness you will never know, sadly." The ex-president and frontrunner to be Republican nominee in 2024 said he is completely innocent and has dismissed the accusations as politically motivated. He is set to face a mug shot, fingerprinting, and a court appearance next week following the indictment. The appearance came as the Trump team was working out how to handle the news, which came as a shock. They had not expected a decision for several weeks, given announcements about the Manhattan grand jury's schedule. Trump supporters were dispatched to news channels to argue that the case was political persecution, with Alan Dershowitz, a lawyer who represented Trump in his first impeachment, arguing that a fair trial was impossible in Manhattan. He said the trial should be moved from the Democrat stronghold to Staten Island. the only one of the 5 boroughs of New York City to vote Republican. The news also caused consternation in Washington, D.C., according to a report. The New York Times said that some in the Justice Department were concerned that the charges could overshadow and perhaps complicate their own cases, which are felt to be stronger. The Justice Department has a special counsel, Jack Smith, investigating efforts to overturn the election and the handling of Mar-a-Lago classified documents. It is unclear when those investigations will conclude. Trump's lawyer has said he will travel to Manhattan to be arraigned on Tuesday, when he could face as many as 30 charges related to business fraud.